What's good? It's your boy Jay. That's me. Let's dive into NXT New Year's Evil from January the 7th, 2025. A really solid, good show. Thoroughly enjoyed it. A lot more fun than the Raw on Netflix debut. Just being honest. And The Rock was all over this show. So, this show was a very good, fun show. And I think 2025 for NXT will be extremely fun, like it always is. NXT is literally the best wrestling show of the week. If you like to see, weekly storyline progression and all that, NXT is the place to be. So we kick the show off with the first match of the night, that being Roxanne Perez versus Giulia. Giulia wins the NXT Women's Championship, and Corey Graves was on commentary, so that was cool. So this was great. Booker T put over Roxanne Perez on commentary, as he should, because that's one of his students for reality wrestling. Match was solid. Both good workers. So they did a butterfly suplex. I thought that was going to be the finish, but it was not. So Roxanne Perez kicked out. They continued to fight some more. Roxanne hit the Pop Rocks. Cora Jade got involved, but she got ejected by the ref. And then Giulia won via a running knee into the Northern Lights bomb for the 1, 2, 3, and that was it. So really good stuff there. It does make sense that Giulia wins. I think Roxanne will probably get a rematch either at the NXT pay-per-view they do in February, or if they want to build it some more, at NXT Stand and Deliver in April. But that's in 4 months from now, basically. So I don't know if they're going to do that. I do think that Roxanne Perez will get a call-up. I do, but just don't know when. Roxanne Perez, I've always been a fan of her. My only problem with her is the promo and her personality. Other than that, she's solid in the ring, really good stuff. She's going to do well on the main roster when her time comes. So she's in good hands. Moving on. So Ava catches Eddie Thorpe. He's in the back faking an injury, apparently, which it wasn't fake. But he was like, "Look, Ava, I'm being serious," and she didn't want to hear it. She shut him down. Moving on, okay. So Javon Evans, he got the promo. He has his jaw, it's still wired shut. So Ethan Page said, Javon Evans says that Ethan Page, his jaw is wired shut. He can't sleep, he can't eat, he can't talk. But he's going to find him for what he did to Cedric Alexander last week. For what you did to me, Ethan, I'm going to make you feel my pain. Nice. I like that. So they're giving him a more aggressive edge. We don't know when Javon will return. I would assume at the pay-per-view that NXT is going to do in February. I think that's when it'll take place. But who knows? So I do look forward to this. Moving on. So we had a fatal 4-way for the number one contender to the NXT Women's Championship, featuring Lola Vice, her sexy ass, Stephanie Vacker, Cora Jade, and Kalani Jordan. So Stephanie Vacker got the win. Pretty good little match here. Good spots overall. Booker T was acting crazy as hell on commentary. Why wouldn't he be? Because sexy ass Lola Vice was on there, so why wouldn't he be, acting crazy? So Stephanie Vacker got the win. She defeated Klein Jordan via the package backbreaker for the 1, 2, 3, which is fine, or it's now called the SVB. Okay, cool. I like that. Really cool shit there. I wonder what that means, but I do like that. Really good stuff. And I figured that Stephanie was going to win. It was going to either be her or Klein Jordan, one of the two. So, yeah. Moving on. So, Ava, she's backstage. She informs the Unholy Union that they're going to take on the Metaphor next week. That being Jakara Jackson and Last Legend. The winner of that match will become the new number 1 contenders for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Okay, cool. Can we please bring those back to NXT and keep them there, please? Or just have them float from brand to brand? I mean, from brand to brand to brand? I don't fucking know, but we gotta do something. Moving on. So, no, my bad. No, not moving on. So, Ava tells Sarah Schreiber that she's not buying A-Tharp's injury as an excuse. She says the main event will still remain a triple threat match. Oba admits that he attacked Eddie Thorpe backstage, but because of what happened last week. So he's the culprit, which there's nothing wrong with that. Ava tells Oba that the match will still remain the same. Regardless, Oba has no doubt he's going to walk out of Los Angeles as the new NXT champion. Spoiler alert, he does. He does. Good shit. Moving on. So we see Triple H and Nick Khan. They are in the front row of NXT. Really good stuff there, I guess. Who cares? Moving on. So, Chemical X, which is Gigi Dolan, Shotzi, and Tatum Paxley, versus Fatal Influence, which is Fallon Henley, JC Jane, and Jasmine Nix. And Shotzi wins. She wins via welcome to the ball pin. So she pins Fallon for the 1, 2, 3. Cool. Nice. Good shit there. So Shotzi constantly, she destroys her body week in, week out. Thankfully, it finally paid off. And I do like this. I really do. I'm glad that Shotzi got a pretty massive win. So, there is that. Moving on. So, this leads us into Ava. She's backstage with Ethan Page. So, Ethan talks about how big tonight is. He's nowhere to be found on the card. Ava wants to make something perfectly clear. This is her show. She calls the shots. Ava says it's perfect timing because The Rock is standing right behind Ethan. So The Rock introduces himself to Ethan Page. He said he's heard a lot of things about Ethan. Not all good things, by the way. He heard that Ethan Page broke Javon Evans' jaw. The Rock says that payback's going to be a bitch. But Ethan highly doubts it. Ethan brags about breaking Cedric Alexander's fingers. Okay. And The Rock said he had the pleasure of speaking to the NXT roster earlier today. If anybody needed anything from him, they should call him, including Ethan. Ethan likes the sound of that. So he said, one more thing. The Rock must remind Ethan that he's the final boss, but when it comes to NXT, Ava's the final boss. So he wants to know if Ethan's going to be cool with The Rock, he needs to be cool with Ava, a.k.a. his daughter. So Ethan, he reluctantly says that he'll be cool with Ava. The Rock says he'll see Ethan on the main roster one day. The Rock tells Ethan to get his sweet ass out of here. Pause. So Ava says, can't wait for Ethan to go to the main roster one day. Tonight's all about moments. The Rock has no idea what he's going to say. Then The Rock wants to know, does he have any advice? Because he's never been in front of the NXT crowd before. Their passion is different. The Rock may not know what to say, but when he gets out there, he's going to feel the energy and speak from the heart. And then the two of them do a fist bump. So that's pretty good shit there. I do like that. That's a pretty cool little moment. Makes perfect sense. He called her Ava. So, yeah, this is cool. Again, we are going to get heel, final boss Rock. Don't worry, guys. Calm the fuck down. It's going to happen. We're going to get final boss Rock coming. He's coming. So, that was cool, I guess. I'm trying to think, when will Ethan Page show up on the main roster? Who knows? I don't know. Maybe he'll stay in NXT for another few months. And then maybe whenever Josh Alexander shows up, maybe they can reunite the North. Obviously under a different name. Maybe not. But maybe that's where they could be leading with things. I don't fucking know. Moving on. Lexis King, he defeats Charlie Dempsey. He is now once again the Heritage Cup champion. So apparently, Lexis King, he had a brutal headbutt on Charlie Dempsey, and then he followed it up with the coronation for the 1, 2, 3. Makes sense, I guess. This makes perfect sense. It's fine, I guess. Moving right along. So Stephanie Vacker, she's arguing with Shotzi, with Ava, about who should be the rightful number one contender, because they're both won their matches. So Fallon Henley then suggests that both Stephanie Vacker and Shotzi fight each other and she'll take on the winner of that match. And then Ava makes the match official. Like, what the hell? The hell is this shit? I thought it was going to be a triple threat. I'm glad it's not, but Stephanie Vacker should be the rightful winner, because she did win the number one contender match. She's automatically given that. Just because Shotzi got lucky and pinned Fallon doesn't mean anything. But it is what it is. I would assume they're probably going to have Vacker win. I don't know. But they got to do something with Vacker. It seems like, if they're going to push her. If not, then, have Shotzi go over. But we have to wait and see, because you need to have a strong mid-card division. And, your only two champions for that title were Caroline Jordan at the inauguration, as the inaugural champion, and Fallon Henley. So, I don't know. I mean, it all depends on how long they want to keep Fallon as champion. I don't think she needs to have a long run. I think that her and JC Jane need to kind of get on out of NXT. Fallon Henley's been in NXT for, 3 years? JC about 3.5, closer to 4. Same thing with Gigi Dolan. It's time for them to go up on the main roster. I really think it's time for them to go on the main roster and bring down some women from the main roster that aren't doing anything, or that aren't going to do anything. Like, hint, Liv Morgan. Because we've seen Liv on SmackDown before. Just put her on NXT, you know what I'm saying? But we'll have to wait and see how all that plays out. Moving on. Main event of the evening. Trick Williams versus Oba Femi versus Eddie Thorpe. Triple threat for the NXT Championship. Oba Femi gets the win. It was a one-on-one match for a while between him and Trick. For like the first maybe 8 to 10 minutes of the match, it was those two. So Eddie Thorpe, he came in towards the end of the match. He came out with a steel chair, and Oba Femi still destroyed both of them. And then he ended up hitting the fall from grace, the pop-up powerbomb for the 1, 2, 3. Trick hit not one but 2 trick shot knees in the match. He ended up almost beating Oba Femi, but Oba kicked out. And then I think he took out Eddie Thorpe with that second one. So that makes, sense. I like this. Oba Femi is the new champion. Makes perfect sense. Obviously, they're going to set up the rematch. You could either do that in February, but they're probably going to do that at Stand and Deliver. That's going to be the biggest match they could possibly do for the men, and that would be fucking awesome. So I'm down for that. Oba Femi winning, right fucking decision, right call. I'm a huge fan of Trick. You guys should know this. I'm a huge fan of Oba Femi. Of Oba Femi as well. I'm a fan of both guys. Trick is just better as a chaser. That's just him. I don't know when he'll get caught up to the main roster. I don't know. I don't think he's ready to be caught up just yet. I would either bring him in at the tail end of this year. So I want to say I'd bring him in maybe around the late summer. So around like SummerSlam or sometime in September. But I would not bring him in during WrestleMania season. Him or Roxanne Perez. I'd really bring them up around the summertime. So around like SummerSlam for both of them. That's just me, but who knows what the fuck Triple H is going to do. Who knows? Moving on. So The Rock comes out and he puts over NXT pretty massive. Talks about saying that we got 6 minutes and 33 seconds left. He calls the crowd motherfuckers, which is funny. He puts himself over, and he basically talked about, the stuff he did with Cody and Roman and all that, and he put those guys over. He put over the Netflix on Raw. He put that over. The Rock basically just put over NXT hard. He basically just said that what he wants us to know, that it's all about filling the crowd. And he wants to tell everybody something important, and that was the main thing he wanted to do is come out here and say thank you. And he said, he mentioned how the Raw Netflix, that was a sexy ticket. That's the ticket. But he said the main reason, you can see all the celebrities and all the stars, but NXT in Los Angeles, that's where you go. That's where you have to go. You have to go to see the show that way. He said it's all about all the guys and girls on the back. It's all about them getting over. It's all about the fans supporting them, whether they cheer them or boo them. He says maybe in 3 years, they'll be ready to go to the main roster. They might even be at WrestleMania one day. He said it all depends on how you react. He said he's been down this road before. He used to wrestle in Memphis as Flex Kavana. He says that he knows what it's like to depend on the crowd. And he says that we matter more than what you think. And he just puts over NXT. He said that he loves us. And I was like, great, good stuff. And he was able to finish right at 10 o'clock. So excellent stuff there. I am glad that The Rock put over NXT hard. And you guys know this. I say this all the time. NXT is literally the best wrestling show of the week. It's better than the main roster. It's better than Raw and SmackDown. It's better than AEW. It's better than TNA. NXT is in a class of its own. And that's just what it is. Like, NXT is good. NXT is where you see the future develop. It's where you get your Braun Breakers and your JC Janes and your Carmelo Hayes and your Roxanne Perez's and your Giulia's and your Stephanie Vackers and so on and so forth. And your Tony D'Angelo's and your Trick Williams and your Oba Femi's. And the list goes on and on and on and on and on. That's what NXT is about. It's about paving that future. And NXT is so good because it allows the crowd to be intimate with these guys and girls on television. It allows to build that intimacy to where on the main roster, you're just basically just a number. You're performing in large crowds of people. But on NXT, you're performing maybe in front of a crowd of, like, for television shows, probably, I would say, between maybe 500 and 800 people per week. I would say, no. I would say, yeah. My bad. I would say anywhere between like 300 and 500 people. That's the crowd that you're performing in front of. The main roster, you're performing in front of like 13,000 people, 14,000 people. Depends on where they're at for Raw and SmackDown on most weeks. But it's great. NXT is great because it allows for characters to get a chance to develop and better themselves as wrestlers and characters and all that. It allows them a chance to do that. Whereas on the main roster, you have to have most of that down pat. So thank you, Rock. I'm glad that he put over NXT hard. NXT was solid this week. Very solid. Oba Femi winning, right decision. Giulia winning, right decision. Stephanie Vacker winning, right decision. The first hour and some change, it felt like it was just an all-women show, basically. But thankfully, it didn't happen like that. But they gave the women big shine on here. So really good stuff there. But NXT was super solid. New Year's Evil was great. And I do think the NXT is going to do wonders this fucking year, just like it did last year in 2024. But what did you guys think of NXT? What did you guys think of New Year's Evil? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.